Hello to all of our local viewers and those watching from around the world. I'm Dr. Wayne, and I would like to welcome you to the Dr. Wayne Health and Wellness Show. On last week's episode, we spoke about maintaining a good optimal blood pressure and the importance of knowing the signs and symptoms of low as well as high blood pressure. Because high blood pressure is known as the silent killer, knowing the signs and symptoms to watch out for can save one's life. Today, I want to take the opportunity to talk about pulse or heart rate. Pulse rate is a measurement of the heart rate or the number of times the heart beats per minute. As the heart pushes blood throughout the arteries expand and contract with the flow of the blood. The heart rate is the number of times that the heart contracts a beat in a minute. It forces blood throughout the body upon each contraction a beat. This heart rate is measured by what we call the pulse, which is felt by the expansion of the walls of the arteries upon each contraction of the heart. The pulse can be taken and measured at different locations throughout the body. The best locations are the wrist. This is known as the radial artery. You will feel an expansion below your fingers. This is known again as the radial artery pulse. Then inside the elbow, okay, the top of the foot, then the neck, also known as the carotid artery, where you would feel or palpate the carotid artery on both sides. In order to obtain the best or most accurate pulse, the number of beats or heart contractions should be measured for 60 seconds. For example, again, going back to the neck, I would count the number of beats or contractions for 60 seconds or 1 minute, and that would give me my heart rate. I could do the same thing at the wrist, count the number of beats or contractions for 60 seconds or 1 minute. Now, healthcare providers who are experienced at this will not necessarily count for 60 seconds. They may do 15 seconds or 30 seconds. If it's 50 seconds and they're counting the number of beats, they would multiply that times four, and that would give them the pulse or heart rate. If it's for 30 seconds, they would multiply by 2. The pulse rate varies according to the age of an individual. However, for our discussion today, we will focus on adults. The normal heart rate for an adult is 60 to 100 beats per minute. This is the normal rate at rest. However, there are factors that will change this heart rate, and they include body size. For example, an obese person's heart rate may not be the same as a person with a normal body weight size. Emotions. A person under stress or involved in stressful activity will experience an increase in their pulse rate. Your body position. When you're reclining or at rest, your heart rate or your pulse is going to be generally less than when you're standing or in a slightly inclined position. Environmental temperature. For example, when it's hot outside, that tends to have some impact on your heart rate. Medications. Medications may stimulate the release of adrenaline, or they may block it. So therefore, some of the medications may increase your heart rate, or they may decrease your heart rate. Energy drinks. Energy drinks generally have stimulants in them that elevate the heart rate. Caffeine, coffee, tea. Those are drinks that will elevate your blood pressure. Activity, such as running, exercising, or fast walking will increase the pulse rate. The pulse rate should be assessed to determine the following: rate, rhythm, strength, and symmetry. Now let's go back to rate. Rate is the number of contractions in a minute, which we discussed earlier. And this is normally between 60 and 100 contractions or beat in a minute in an adult. The rhythm is the pulse occurring at a regular pace. For example, you feel your pulse and you feel a regular rhythm. That's a regular rhythm. That's what we're talking about. Versus an irregular rhythm. For example, that's irregular. But if we're talking about a regular rhythm, that is a normal rate. The strength. We feel the pulse to ascertain whether it's bounding under our fingers. Is it strong? That tells the healthcare provider something about your peripheral vascular system. For example, in your lower extremities, if your healthcare provider feels a pulse at the top of your foot or at the back of your ankle, and that pulse is weak, it gives him an indication that you may be experiencing some circulatory problems in the lower extremities, particularly if he or she feels the pulse rate, and with that, he has an associated feeling of coldness in your feet. That means the strength of the pulse is weak and is indicative of very weak circulation in that area. And last, symmetry. When your healthcare provider feels your pulse, and it's the same on both sides of your body. For example, on this side, I feel radial pulse. It's the same rate, it's the same rhythm, same strength as it is on the other side. Same with the neck, carotid artery pulse. Is it the same on the left side as it is on the right side? Let's pause for a brief message from our sponsors. We'll be right back.
Dr. Wayne's aspirin is a low-dose tablet that promotes heart health while reducing the risk of heart attacks and strokes. Heart disease is the leading cause of deaths of Americans. Recent studies have concluded that a daily low-dosage aspirin also reduces the risk of colorectal cancer. Taking low-dose aspirin is not safe for everyone. Only take low-dose aspirin if your doctor recommends it. Try Dr. Wayne's aspirin, coming to a store near you soon.
I'm Dr. Matthew Wayne Whitus, known as Dr. Wayne by many of you. I'm the founder of Wayne Pharmaceuticals, as well as the MD Whitus Medical Institute. Both are partners in the ownership of this facility, which is the former Ayers Clark School. It was first constructed in 1956 as the first public school built in this county to provide a public education to people of color. It operated as a segregated institution from 1956 to 1970. It was integrated in 1970 and operated as an integrated institution until its closing in 2014. Additionally, we operate our nonprofit entity, the MD Whitus Medical Institute. That entity brings services to the community that will enhance the community and address some of the economic and health issues that affect the community. In Crisp County, Georgia, which is ranked 152 out of 159 counties in the state of Georgia, this very low ranking is because of the high morbidity and mortality rate here in this county. We have a high incidence of diseases that are associated with heart-related ailments such as hypertension, diabetes, heart attacks, strokes. These statistics lead to high mortality rates, which is a premature death rate. We have moved forward with programs to address some of those issues. We house a 15,000 square foot gym, which was recently renovated, and we've hired staff to work with local citizens here, bring on activities that will make our citizens or enhance their abilities to be more active. Being more active and exercise, that we believe that will bring down some of these bad health statistics. We operate on an 18-acre facility here. We recently acquired 4.89 acres, almost 5 acres, from the adjoining church. And we plan to develop this entire facility to someday be able to manufacture our own healthcare products. Our long-term goal is to be able to manufacture on this location with property that we have acquired and that we plan to acquire, to manufacture products like Dr. Wayne's aspirin, over-the-counter healthcare products. We plan to do that right here in Cordele, Crisp County, Georgia, on our facility as we develop this facility. We believe that we're going to make a difference as we develop this facility and bring more jobs, particularly in the manufacturing, marketing, and sales area. We look to the community to look at Wayne Pharmaceuticals and look at Dr. Wayne's brand, to know that when they're buying Dr. Wayne's products, they're buying quality healthcare products, but they're also doing something that is unique, and that is investing in our community. Investing in communities like Cordele, Crisp County, Georgia. We hire local people from here. We hire local people. We put local people to work. And as we are able to sell more products, as we're able to do more business, we plan to do more of that. Welcome back. Now let's discuss the symptoms of an irregular pulse, which are fatigue, dizziness, palpitations, pounding in the chest, lightheadedness, fainting, a rapid heartbeat, shortness of breath, chest pain, and sudden cardiac arrest. An abnormally high rate such as a rate above 100 at rest is known as tachycardia. A heart rate below 60 is described as bradycardia. Let's take a moment to assess what you've learned about pulse or heart rate in this discussion today. Is the pulse rate the same in adults and children? A, yes. B, no. Take a moment and think about that. The answer is B, no. What is the normal pulse rate in an adult? A, 40 to 60 beats per minute. B, 60 to 90 beats per minute. C, 60 to 100 beats per minute. What is your answer? Your answer should be C, 60 to 100 beats per minute. The pulse rate should be the same on both sides of the body. A, yes. B, no. Think about it. A, yes. It should be symmetrical on both sides. A pulse rate of 120 after running is abnormal. A, yes. B, no. B, no. Remember, we said that exercise and running and active walking can increase the heart rate. So therefore, we would expect the heart rate to increase. A weak pulse rate in your feet can be an indication of poor blood circulation. A, yes. B, no. A, yes. Remember we talked about the strength of the pulse. When you talked about the weak pulse in the lower extremities would be an indication of poor blood circulation. Energy drinks such as coffee can increase your pulse rate. A, yes. B, no. A, yes. One area that the pulse can be taken is in the neck. A, yes. B, no. The answer is A, yes. Remember we talked about the carotid pulse. Is bradycardia an abnormally fast or slow pulse rate? A, fast. B, slow. The answer is B. Bradycardia is an abnormally slow heart rate. The next is the pulse rate always the same at rest and during exercise. A, yes. B, no. The answer is B. No. Exercise activity increases the heart rate. Can a pulse rate of 50 be considered a normal heart rate in an athletic individual who has no symptoms? A, yes. B, no. The answer is A, yes. The next one is a trick question for you. You wasn't given this information, but hopefully some of you out there may have the answer to this question. Coricidin is a cough medication, and would it increase or decrease the heart rate? It would increase the heart rate. Let's pause for a brief message from our sponsors. We'll be right back.
My name is Evan Edwards. I am the Director of community sustainability and health initiatives. We just wrapped up one of our health and wellness classes that we have every week, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. It's open to the public at no cost whatsoever. And here we just do functional training, stretching, multiple types of exercises and cardiovascular movements to mimic everyday movements for our senior citizens and anyone actually that needs to come in and get a workout or has had some type of surgery or injury that prevents them from being as mobile as they'd like. We just partnered with Silver Sneakers, which is catered to members of the community that are 65 years and older. With Prime for anyone 18 to 64, we are one, if not the only, privately owned black fitness facilities in the state that offers these programs. We want to get everybody involved. We are doing many other things here at the MD Whitehouse Institute. We do toy drives, we do the food bank that's coming up. We're going to be one of the places that families that are less fortunate can come in and weekly pick up food and things that they need to take care of their families. We do health and wellness screenings, blood pressure checks, cholesterol checks, BMI, those types of things, just to keep awareness and consciousness to the community about health initiatives and nutrition classes, do vital signs classes, and eventually we'll do some resume writing classes, interview skills, and check us out. You can go on our website at mdwhitehousemedicalinstitute.org.
My name is Jimmy. I've been coming to the program for 4 weeks and I enjoy it. You know, I'm a senior citizen and I appreciate Dr. Wing for his program.
My name is Felicia. I have been coming to the program for 3 weeks now. I have lost 2 pounds. I am enjoying the trainers and I appreciate the program. And everyone should come out and it's available for everyone.
My name is Gail. I have been attending the program for approximately 6 weeks. I really enjoyed it. I look forward every morning to getting out of bed and getting over here to Dr. Wayne's Medical Institute. I invite everybody to come out and attend. You will really have fun.
My name is Wayward Dempsey and I just started the program. And since I've been coming, it's been very instrumental to my health. And I certainly thank Dr. Wayne for putting this program into place, and I hope we can get a lot more participation.
So we spoke about the importance of knowing your numbers. These numbers refer to the vital sign measurements taken when visiting your healthcare provider. These measurements assess your general body functions such as blood pressure, pulse or heart rate, temperature, and respiration. We discussed the normal ranges for each of these vital signs. Today we will speak on blood pressure. Blood pressure is an assessment of 2 different pressures. They are systolic pressure and diastolic pressure. The systolic pressure has a normal range and the diastolic pressure has a normal range. The blood pressure for an adult is different according to age. The blood pressure for infants, toddlers, and adolescents is not the same as for an adult. For our discussion today, we will focus on blood pressure for an adult. The normal systolic pressure for an adult is 90 to 120 millimeters of mercury, and the normal diastolic pressure range is 60 to 80. These pressures are therefore written in fraction form, such as 90 over 60 to 120 over 80. In our previous presentation, we gave the range of 90 over 60 to 140 over 90 as being the normal range. Prior to 2003, these were considered the ranges that healthcare providers used. However, recent recommendations have lowered the range to allow for aggressive monitoring and treatment of blood pressure. Thus, we will utilize the new recommendations of 90 over 60 to 120 over 80. Blood pressures of 120 over 80 to 139 over 89 are considered to be pre-hypertensive. Let us take a moment to check your knowledge thus far. The pressure that is exerted on the walls of the arteries or vessels when the heart pumps is called A, diastolic pressure, B, systolic pressure. Let's take a moment and I'll let you think about this and give us an answer. The answer is B, systolic pressure. We discussed that earlier and we concluded that that was the systolic pressure. Blood pressure is defined as A, systolic pressure, B, diastolic pressure, C, systolic pressure over diastolic pressure. Take a moment and ponder your thoughts and see what you come up with. The answer is C, systolic pressure over diastolic pressure. Normally when you go to your healthcare provider and your blood pressure is taken and it is given to you, it's some number over some number, written almost like a fraction. For example, 150 over 90. That's the way blood pressure is written, and the top number being the systolic pressure, the bottom number being your diastolic pressure. What is the normal systolic pressure range in an adult? A, 90 to 150. B, 60 to 90. C, 90 to 120. Take a moment and review. The answer is C, 90 to 120. Let's take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Dr. Wayne's aspirin is a low-dose tablet that promotes heart health while reducing the risk of heart attacks and strokes. Heart disease is the leading cause of deaths of Americans. Recent studies have concluded that a daily low-dosage aspirin also reduces the risk of colorectal cancer. Taking low-dose aspirin is not safe for everyone. Only take low-dose aspirin if your doctor recommends it. Try Dr. Wayne's aspirin, coming to a store near you soon.
The Black community experiences health disparities at a rate significantly higher than any other race. African Americans are more likely to die from many health complications such as diabetes and heart disease. Wayne Pharmaceuticals is committed to closing the health disparity gap in our community by providing a variety of products and resources to beat the statistics. Join us in making a difference.
Welcome back. Let's continue with our discussion. Another question for you. What is the normal blood pressure in an adult? A, 90 over 70 to 120 over 60. B, 70 over 50 to 90 over 60. C, 90 over 60 to 120 over 80. What is your answer? The answer is C, 90 over 60 to 120 over 80. One more question for you. Would 150 over 96 be considered a normal blood pressure? A, yes. B, no. Think about it. The answer is B, no. It is out of the normal range. Remember, our top number, which is our systolic pressure, we gave that range as being 90 to 120. And the bottom number is 60 to 80. So the top number that we just gave was 150. It's greater than 120. The bottom number is 96. It's out of the range of 60 to 80. So this is an abnormal blood pressure. So what would we describe this blood pressure? Would it be hypotension or hypertension? It would be hypertension, an elevated blood pressure. Our next question. Would 70 over 50 be considered a normal blood pressure? A, yes. B, no. Ponder your thoughts. The answer is B, no. This is an abnormal blood pressure. Blood pressure measurements takes into account how much blood is passing through your blood vessels. Narrow arteries increase resistance and put a blood pressure on the heart as it pumps or contracts. This therefore increases the blood pressure. As the heart consistently works under the pressure of pumping blood through narrow arteries, it gradually enlarges. Unlike skeletal muscle, which is this muscle right here, which enlarges and becomes stronger under increased resistance, the heart muscle enlarges and gradually becomes weaker and diseased. High blood pressure, which is also called hypertension, we stated before, is systolic over diastolic pressure. It generally develops over many years, and there are two types: primary or essential and secondary hypertension. Primary or essential hypertension is the most common. There's no specific identifiable cause, but there are risk factors such as age, family history, using tobacco, race, being overweight, having a diet high in salt, drinking too much alcohol, and stress. I want to take this opportunity to talk to you about why we've taken the initiative to promote and develop this show. We recognize that there's a crisis in this local community where we reside. We located at the M.D. White's Medical Institute here at the historic former S. Clark School in Cordia, Crisp County, Georgia. We have taken it upon ourselves to promote good health in this community, which ranks 152 out of 159 counties in Georgia, and overall good health of its citizens. These very low rankings are due to the high incidence of disease and premature death of the local citizens. We suffer from a disproportionately high level of strokes, heart attacks, kidney diseases, diabetes. We suffer at an alarmingly high rate of those diseases in this community. And as a result, it impacts the quality of life for our citizens. It impacts the quality of life, and it also shortens the life of many of our citizens. We are conducting some studies here, and the preliminary studies indicate some real severe problems for our citizens. Therefore, we've taken it upon ourselves, as I stated earlier, to launch this show to educate. Educate about some common things that we find in these very bad statistics. The high incidence of diseases around hypertension. Hypertension seems to be the crux of many of the disease factors and is responsible about 50% of the deaths that we've seen here in the last 10 years, particularly in the African American community. So therefore, we've sought to educate, and I would want to take it upon ourselves to ask each and every one of you to be more aggressive in monitoring your blood pressure. Be more aggressive in monitoring it, and if you're on medications, take those medications as prescribed by your physician. Check your blood pressure a minimum of once a week. And when it is not within those normal ranges, you should seek medical help. Do not assume that your blood pressure is going to go down on its own. If it is elevated and you're not taking medications, and even if you're on medications and your blood pressure is higher than it should be, you should seek medical help. Those of you who have family members who are on medications and they're not compliant with the medications, take it upon yourselves to encourage them to do something about it. In addition to taking your medications, I recommend that you engage in some new changes in your lifestyle that will reduce the risk of developing hypertension and all the ailments that are associated with it, such as reducing that salt intake. Put down the salt shaker. Don't use as much salt as you traditionally have. Exercise a little bit more. Get out and walk and exercise a minimum of 30 minutes 3 times a week. Those of you who have parents, children, uncles, aunts, loved ones, express your love in a different way. We know that you love your family members, but there's a different way that you can show your real love, is by encouraging them to do the things that are going to increase their quality of life and keep them a little bit longer here with you. Encourage them to exercise. Encourage them to reduce that salt intake. Encourage them to be in compliance and take their medications. This is our word for today, and I thank you for listening.